Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Saturn Slam review. It is that time of the year in which we all give thanks for the fact that we did not do an episode last month because we forgot. Well, it was busy, and also we
Yeah.
forgot.
So, catch up.
Catch up.
We were actually playing with your brains. It was what you
Yes.
might call mind game.
I was gonna say brain backgammon or something, just close to, but not quite the title list. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as promised last time, our retro show this week is Mind Games, the 10th in the In Your House series of mini pay-per-views put on by WWF in the late 90s.
Yep.
And we'll be back later this month with SummerSlam. And I'm sure there's a takeover in there as well, and probably an AEW pay per view. So we'll figure it all out. We'll sort it
Yeah.
accordingly. But here we talk about Mind Games, a show that was only about 2 hours long, and had a 40-minute main event. So as you can imagine, not a whole lot to discuss on this show.
Yeah.
But we will endeavor to do so anyway. So the first match we had was Savio Vega and Justin Bradshaw with Uncle Zebekai.
Zebekiah, and he had his. It was a brand, I believe, right? He was walking around with it. It looked
Yes.
like a mic stand,
Yeah,
honestly.
he had a
But
hot
it was a
poker of
brand.
some sort. Yeah. Uh, and JBL, before he was JBL, or even before he was in the APA,
Mm-hmm.
wrestled Savio Vega, who I believe it is Juan Rivera, but didn't he have a gimmick change, or did he just join the Nation of Domination?
I
I
really don't
think
know.
he just joined the Nation of Domination.
Sounds right.
Kama Mustafa's the guy I'm thinking of. That was
Uh,
Papa Shango / Godfather.
Either way, he
Man
was
is
on
man
his
is
own today. On
Yes,
this day.
this was pre-Nation of. We had three people actually, who would end up in the Nation of Domination on the show, and they could not have been in different spots on the card.
Mm-hmm.
So Savio Vega, this was a Caribbean strap match, which I guess at the time was his signature match. This is the older style of strap match where you have to touch all four corners, and it is decidedly the worst way to do a strap match.
It entertained me a little bit.
I mean,
Like,
it
okay.
wasn't bad. It was fine, but at the same time, it's a 7-minute strap match.
Yeah. I the thing I most remember about the strap match was the ending. Of course, it was like a photo finish sort of ending, but also
It's the
that they
same
never
ending
used.
to literally every strap match.
But the other thing I remember was that they never used the full length of the strap. It was always someone was like, I have some length of it in my hand." I was like, "Just make it shorter at that point, then.
Yeah.
Just tighten it up."
Well, I mean the I guess the idea is that you're using it to whack a guy by bunching up the length. Um, but yeah, I think it's like a 25-foot strap for a 20-foot ring.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
Real,
I completely made
real
that up.
restrictive there.
Then we had Jose Lothario wrestling Jim Cornette.
This was some sort of meme feud that they had built up
So
for a
yeah,
while.
I guess Jose Lothario is the guy who trained Shawn Michaels, and he came out to Shawn Michaels' music, which really only works for Shawn Michaels.
So I'm just like, what? As soon
Yeah,
as he came out, I was like, you're just using his music. What
it
are you
just
doing?
felt wrong. And Jim Cornette, he cut a Jim Cornette promo, buried the town. They were in Pittsburgh, and he got beat in less than a minute with a claw, I guess. I don't really know what the hell
I don't Lothario didn't have a lot of range of motion. I think about the promo that they set up for this match, which was Jim Cornette getting his ass whipped again and again.
Yeah.
By like one-handed punches, like Jose would like just fucking clock him and he would go down, and they somehow built a promo out of that, only for Jim Cornette to fall in the blow off here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta send the fans home happy. Let the babyface go over. He died in 2018. He was 83, so that would have made him. So that's 81, and then back 30 years, so 51. Man, he did not age gracefully if he's only 51 there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I would have
Although
thought
Jim
his
Cornette,
60s.
when he came out in his like spandex and his Spanx,
Yeah.
I mean that was playing it up for sure, but like
Yeah, he was a loudmouth heel.
that was a uniform I'll never forget.
Yeah. We had the famous Shitman promo from Steve Austin. I did not know that was on the show going forward, but going into it, but it was. One of the more famous promos of not Bret Hart's career, of Stone Cold's career pre his match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13.
At this point, yeah, famous promo. I would also make note. This is the point where I make note that of some of the side things that were going on during this event. Just in how 90s they were. I don't know if you looked at the in between the matches, but apparently I didn't even know that they did this. Was that they had a toll number?
Yes, 900 numbers were big.
And do a fucking interview with some of the talent, and they would shit talk you apparently.
Yeah, for like the low price of $2 a minute, you could call their 900 line. WCW did that too. They had the Mean Gene hotline, which I think was like $1.99 a minute. You could call in, and Mean Gene would give you the scoops. WCW.
It was great because it had like
they had to block it out with the number no longer in service.
Yep. Like the one they were promoting was Sunny was online, and she's just like yelling at the camera like, "No, screw you! You're a jerk! You're not. I'm gonna win at the championship or whatever."
Yeah, I guess she was a heel at this point in time. I don't remember that. I guess that works out fine because it's Tammy Sitch, and she's a terrible person. Just a gutter tier human being. But she was out later to manage the Smoking Guns. Bart and Billy Gunn. I forgot how big Bart Gunn was. He made Billy Gunn look small.
Yeah.
And Billy Gunn is no small man.
Against Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. Although, like, I heard the name Owen Hart, but I'm like, Owen Hart being big. Yeah.
Yeah. He, in the final few years of his life here, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, this was what you'd expect. It's Owen Hart, and British Bulldog is good in a tag team where he can, do his spots and not have to do much else. And the Smoking Guns were never a bad team. I mean, Bart Gunn never really did much. He won the Brawl for All and then got KO'd by Butterbean as a reward. And Billy Gunn, of course, would go on to great success in his solo career. But this was
sense that they would put 10 minutes on this match.
Yeah, this was a good mid-card match. Showed that they kind of valued the tag titles in a way that they don't now. And Sonny caused a distraction, I guess, to lead to the Owen and Bulldog victory. And that was
Classic
the end of
self-own.
Yes, and that probably led to some tension, but I don't remember much about the breakup of the Smoking Guns.
Yeah, well, I mean, after this match, she's like, "I'm done with you. You're fired. You're off of the team. I'm walking away." And she walks out of the ring, and they're like, "No, Sonny, come back." And I guess it should be noted that before this, apparently one of her gimmicks was that she had a big poster of her that came down and was like, "I'm in a sexy pose. Look at how cool my team is because I'm sex appeal for the team." But
That seems
Owen Hart and
fair.
British Bulldog graffitied all over it like it was an episode of Pokemon, and Jigglypuff came on. So they drew a cartoon mustache and glasses and a soul patch on her, and that was just indelible, just a blow to her self esteem.
I must have gone to the bathroom during this because I don't remember that. I mean, I'm sure it happened. Um, Mark Henry made his professional wrestling debut against Jerry Lawler. It was a short match that did exactly what it had to do. It put the new guy over big. And
Yeah,
Jerry Lawler knows how to work a professional wrestling match.
very effective. I mean, think about Mark Henry's. So this was Mark Henry's debut, and like think about the career he's had since.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it took a long
as
time for that career to really get off the ground, but
mhm.
it did.
Yeah, and side note, I just look at the density of future commentators on this card.
I think Lawler was doing commentary regularly by this point. I think he just wasn't at the booth. Oh yeah, we should mention the commentators on this night were Vince McMahon, JR, and Mr. Perfect. Um, I think Lawler would have normally been in Mr. Perfect's spot, but since he had a match on the card, they decided to not put him on commentary for the night.
I you know, here's JBL, here's Jim Cornette, there's Jerry Lawler, here's you know, they're just all there.
Yeah. Um, I'm sorry. The Undertaker wrestled Goldust in a final curtain match, which, as far as I could tell, was a regular match.
Yeah, I think about this in context, and really, it just wasn't for either of them.
Yeah.
There's only one mark in a, you know, who, let's see, yeah, the Undertaker beat Goldust, and it was his final match. You know, he never did a 20-year career after this, and he's currently retired. You know, Goldust. He's just not working anymore.
Yeah.
That was the end of it.
Yeah, he might have been on his way back to WCW at that point. No, actually, that wasn't until 99. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess this was just the feud ender between the two.
Yeah.
It was a fine match, like you would expect from these two. I know they can do better than what they did here, but they went out there and they gave a good 10 minutes, and Undertaker pinned him with the tombstone in the middle, clean. And that was it.
Great Undertaker match. Just, you know, it's before he was WrestleMania only sort of guy.
Yeah, I mean, well, that wasn't until much later.
Fair enough.
But yeah, this was a little bit before. This is the Purple Glove era, as it's known in the Undertaker fandoms, because of his purple gloves. And this was a time where he was doing a bit more in the ring, but he wasn't really doing everything he could do. Still, that was come a little later. And then we had the main event, which I'm seeing here was only 26 minutes, but I could swear to God it was 40.
It felt like 40. I remember it. It's like all the lead up, all the promo, and all the blow off.
Yeah, I guess bell time was only 26, 25, but the segment time was at least 40 minutes.
Yeah, and what an alignment here. It was Shawn Michaels with Jose Lothario coming out versus Mankind under Paul Bearer and that
Yeah.
sort of Stable.
So Undertaker and Mankind would feud throughout '96, really into '98 off and on. And one of the major developments early on in that feud was when Paul Bearer turned on the Undertaker and turned heel and aligned with Mankind. So
I mean, that's the whole reason that this pay-per-view was set up, was mind games, and the logo, of course, was a late 90s CGI skull with, of course, the googly eyes,
yes,
but with Mankind's mask on it.
yeah. So they had cut promos, the both of them, earlier in the night, and Shawn Michaels seemed visibly shook in his. And this was during Shawn Michaels' 1996 title run, where he was a babyface, but not a very popular babyface. In fact, I think in just a couple In Your House shows later, he would defend the title against Sid in Madison Square Garden and was roundly booed as Sid was cheered. Yeah, so his career really rebounded once he turned heel in '97. Or maybe it was even later in '96. But for now, he was kind of floundering as a babyface. But this was kind of like setting the seeds of a slow heel turn, because as this match went on, he wrestled more and more aggressively and got more and more frustrated and more brutal. And this was just a match. If you said Shawn Michaels and Mankind are going to have a match, this match was exactly what you would have thought. This was probably when Mick Foley was in the best shape of his career.
Yeah. Yep.
And he brought it. He wrestled as good a match as, I think this might be one of the better, in terms of a pure wrestling match and not a spectacle with a lot of stunts and crazy hardcore shit in it. This is probably the best match Mick Foley had in his entire WWF career.
I would say so. Like, it's if I said the words to you, Shawn Michaels, Mankind, singles WWF World Heavyweight Championship, 1996, like, you could just transport yourself back to the CRT TV, just sitting in front of it. There's your Super Nintendo or Genesis 3 sitting right in front of it, and you're just taking that match in on the fuzzy rabbit ears. It just feels like everything's there to just make it a nostalgic sort of, like, this is what wrestling was in the 90s, guys.
Yeah, it was definitely a moment in time. So they put on a good match. As I said, Mick Foley busted out all his stuff, the pile driver, double arm DDT. They exchanged some holds. They both took turns selling. They did some spots off the apron onto the concrete, and match is picking up. Shawn Michaels is running around like a crazy man, and I was watching this match. I'm like, boy, that Shawn Michaels sure can run ropes.
Yeah. Oh.
And we were kicking into. It was about to reach that final climactic gear, but then Vader ran in for the DQ, and then Sid ran down and ran off Vader, and Shawn and Mankind did more stuff where Mankind got or bonked him on the head with the urn, and it's kind of devolved from there.
It just collapsed. As a watcher, I collapsed inside. It was like, oh, cool. They ended the main event with a DQ.
Yeah, I mean, it's an in-your-house show. They were like mini pay-per-views. They only cost, I think, like $20.
Mm-hmm. They're literally what a regular show is on TV today.
Pretty much.
In terms of length.
Yeah. They did expand at a certain point to 3 hours. I don't remember when that was, but this show was only 2 hours. It was a very, very well-paced, easy-to-watch show. But yeah, it was kind of like an episode of TV because they ended the main event with a schmoz. Which, I mean, I guess they had to do that because obviously they weren't going to take the title off of Shawn. And Mankind was really up and coming, so you didn't want to pin him. So this was the way they did. I will give a shout out to the spot where Shawn Michaels leapt off a chair that was set up in the ring for some reason to kick a second chair into Mankind's face. It looked like something out of a parkour action movie.
They were so proud of that one. I can just tell.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, it came out about as well as you could have hoped. So
Yeah.
I'd be proud of that too. I'd be like, oh yeah, that went exactly as I planned. It looked awesome. There were a couple dark matches that we'll just briefly list here because they're on the Wikipedia page. Jake Roberts went over Triple H back when he was still Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Farook with Sonny because apparently that was... Oh, that's right.
Maybe she just left and joined Farouk.
Well, they were the guys on the 900 hotline. That's the match between these guys. So it was Farouk with Sonny versus Mark Marrow and Sable. Wow, what a mismatch that was. They were.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's a funny story because Mark Marrow, had some issue with the direction WCW was going. And wanted to know that he and his wife were going to be well represented because he's a good Christian man. And then they go to WWF and Sable, literally her boobs sell fucking thousands and thousands of tickets. They get a divorce and she ends up with Brock Lesnar years later.
Oh god. It really is just a roulette.
I mean, late 90s, man. What a fascinating time in the wrestling industry. Farouk won that match. Big surprise. Mark Marrow did not do a lot of winning in his time in WWF. And then Psycho Sid beat Vader, who was managed by Jim Cornette. And, so 10 matches for the in-house crowd.
Yeah.
Overall, pretty good show. If you need something to watch, you need to drop 2 hours. There are certainly worse things on the network you can watch.
Mm-hmm. If you're especially if you're I want to just dip my toes, I want to dip my foot in the 90s and just have a glimpse, just bathe me for a moment in that late 20th century glow.
Yeah. Also, if you're a big fan of Mick Foley, this is at least the main event is a must-watch for your collection.
Absolutely.
Same with ditto Shawn Michaels. Really, this is one of his many great matches. I don't know where I would rank this in the pantheon of Shawn Michaels matches. That'd be a big project. I don't know if I would ever want to do that.
This is at least dollar store Shawn Michaels compilation quality.
Yes, at the very least. This is it would make the cut of his third DVD for sure. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for that right now. We'll be back in a couple weeks with either Takeover or SummerSlam or one of those shows. And until then, be well, stay safe, and grapple like it's 1995 or 96 in this case.
Yeah, 96. Peace.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.